Okay, so all right, we're good. So I'm admittedly not used to doing a strictly YouTube content before, so excuse the lazy overlay and generally dead one. There's some other stuff that's normal here when we're Twitch streaming, and I'm gonna try to be more talkative since again doing this just for YouTube. But here we are. So as you can see on the right side of the overlay, my P.E.K.K.A buddy Jax swapped in arrows over zap, and beat some hard counters, won a base race with a for the 3 crown, and beat 2.6 with arrows over zap. The big interactions that have changed, as I'm sure a lot of you know already, we've got guards are killed by arrows now, archers are killed by arrows now, and it does really well in the tombstones. So I'm not surprised in the least that he's seeing a lot of success with this new arrows variant. I know that P.E.K.K.A players were testing out arrows when the speed got buffed back in June or July, so this doesn't surprise me in the least. And Jax is currently sitting pretty at 6803, number 1721 in the world at the time I am beginning this recording. He's a beast of a player. I'm really happy that I'm able to get him on stream every couple weeks. So, I mean, let's just take a look at this first matchup. I mean, lava matchups traditionally not good for P.E.K.K.A, especially with barbarians, even though this dude doesn't have a support win con like miner or balloon that you normally see alongside a lava hound. It's still not a good matchup because he's got so many ground answers that just slow the P.E.K.K.A down and don't really let him get into like his kind of flow. So this is hard counter number 1 that he beat, and for some reason BlueStack is taking forever to load right now, so forgive that. Alright, I'm going to try to watch it at normal speed and see what we've got. And this is already top ladder, so you know that every game that we see is going to be good. He's got a good starting hand for this matchup for sure, though. Did he mess up? Did he get the bandit right? Nice. I'm actually really bad with that bandit. I should probably try to copy that placement. And then the two of them are both just happy to leak Elixir because, probably from Jax's point of view, if you look at his cycle, he doesn't have anything that he wants to passively cycle in this matchup. And the Lava player might want to wait for double Elixir. So they're both kind of just waiting passively for their own separate reasons. I'm going to speed up until a card is played. Actually, I'll go over some basic stuff real quick for any P.E.K.K.A players out here who are still trying to learn. You want to, as the basis of this matchup, P.E.K.K.A in the back in the other lane, like he should do here. Yep, right as soon as you see that Lava Hound. It's going to... Oh wait, he did have a balloon. I was just blind when I was looking at it earlier. Excuse me for that. That's going to at least force them to play something on defense, so their offense is not overwhelming. And it looks like he might just want to go for the base race here, given that he decided to play one of his main air defense cards in the opposite lane. So this is going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. It was a solid solid play from his opponent, but good reaction with those minions to keep everything happening. And this was honestly just a really well played game overall. I think this is the base race 3 crown right here. The balloon went in front so that the King Tower and everything else took care of it. And between Dark Prince and everything else, cleaning up those barbarians after he got down that crucial set of minions to make sure that the Mega Minion couldn't kill his E-Wiz, that game was pretty much just won. Really solid game. I'm happy I didn't speed that up at all because, goodness, keep commenting on it, I could barely keep up. Alright, Giant Barbarians again. Like I said, very difficult card in general for the P.E.K.K.A to be able to handle, and Graveyard is also difficult because, you know, it takes 11 Elixir to put down P.E.K.K.A plus Poison to defend against Giant plus Graveyard, and there's also other things like the Barbarians you might want to poison in this deck. So very much a slow roll. We'll see how he plays it. I'm rather curious myself. I'm curious to what he does here. I kind of expected that to be the response because I don't know, you don't want to really be engaging that Valkyrie on his side of the bridge. Jax wants to be able to take advantage of his crown towers here. I guess just taking advantage of that indecisiveness with that play, but then the stupid Barbarians come down and it makes me sad as a fellow P.E.K.K.A player. However, Jax is well aware that dude spent his entire Elixir bar, so he's not worrying about defending all that heavily. Honestly, I don't even think... Okay, that's an understandable play. I wasn't 100% sure if he needed to do anything more to keep the barbarians in check, but after seeing how that bandit went through, it definitely was the correct call from him. Really, really well traded. He learned a lot about the deck from that completely safe interaction. What did he take? 300 damage on both sides? That's negligible. Negligible, I think? I don't freaking know. It's a hard word to pronounce even though I know how to type it, so excuse me for being an idiot. That's always frustrating to see. He's got so many decent answers right here. And now that poison, obviously he doesn't know that this guy has a graveyard in his deck. Although it was a really good decision from the graveyard player to not graveyard in that instance, though it wasn't a good decision to weak like that. And here we have the giant graveyard classic. It's the same thing you'll see giant balloon players do, just spam them both at the bridge as soon as you have 10 elixir. Jax handled it really well by still having his minions in hand, so that was excellent from him. He's probably going to set up dual lane pressure here, get the battle ram in the opposite lane, so that it's harder for this dude to just defend everything with barbarians. Now he's kind of forced to make a choice, and, I mean, Jax is getting, what, 1800 damage off of it? Oh, dang, a cool 2k. I was completely wrong. Dang, that was some really nice pressure. That sneaking in that bandit to help out the P.E.K.K.A was a super good decision. They're just spam these Ewiz emotes. Yeah, Jax actually played that super duper well, and with a relatively bad starting cycle too. I actually like this poison to put pressure on his opponent and kind of twist his arm a little bit into wanting to play that graveyard. I'm assuming that the graveyard is what those minions were predicting, so it was a really, really solid wait by his opponent there. Testing out the new arrows here, maybe? Nope, not gonna arrows the, Okay, so it looks like he's just gonna sack tower here. I mean, he has a gigantic damage lead. Even with giant graveyard, still mostly a 1-crown archetype, so it makes sense that he's just kind of trying to go for it here. Yeah, that was solid, so now he's got tower and a giant advantage, and actually his opponent's still going to have to commit that log in order to take the first tower, so that's a super duper valuable 2 elixir. Anytime you have an advantage like that and you can force your opponent into playing even just 2 elixir of a small spell to take a tower when they didn't want to, the faster you can start to punish that, the better of position you're going to be in. Again, went in for a pretty standard giant graveyard. Jax might P.E.K.K.A in the pocket just to keep all of his troops alive here. There really isn't a good play for this guy anymore outside of those barbarians, but they're just going to go straight to the P.E.K.K.A instead, and then we get a connection. Oh my goodness, those arrows do so much damage to the barbarians. That is so good for this matchup too. I didn't even know that. And that's where we're recording the video, right? So that was really, really well played by Jax. He did a good job at knowing what he could and couldn't defend, and generally just maintained his advantage really well, played it very calmly, did not overcommit for stuff that he didn't have to overcommit for. I mean, he was able to spend 7 elixir to take a tower, and because he still had pressure going, it didn't matter a whole lot, so that was, like, super good knowledge from Jax. I didn't check what this was beforehand. Okay, he told me he had a 2.6 replay, so this is always a good matchup. Especially at the top level, this is certainly favored for the 2.6 player because it has incredible capabilities. Let's see. Backup tile should work at that timing. Yeah. So that's, I'm going to pause real quick just for people who don't know. So normally you want to be playing your P.E.K.K.A, what, 3 tiles up on the river, or on the path right here. If you can react quickly. If you're a tiny bit slower, I'm sorry, cat's distracted me. If you're a tiny bit slower, you can actually move off to the left, and I think down 1. And the way the hog has to move around it because of the P.E.K.K.A's higher mass makes it so that the hog rider wastes just enough time that way. Or the P.E.K.K.A wastes just enough of the hog rider's time that way. That it actually misses, so that's a super good play. Really good decision by Jax to not apply any amount of aggression there. Really big misplay from the 2.6 player there, playing his Musketeer a tile too high and actually retargeting P.E.K.K.A, or actually getting, earning the P.E.K.K.A's aggression rather, instead of the Ice Golem taking it. Really solid set of plays there. I really like the way that Jax is pressuring to keep him from getting hog plus a hog and a whatchamacallit, and a Musketeer in the same lane, because that was really difficult for him to handle with the cycle that he had, because you can't really answer it properly when they've got Hog, Musketeer, and Elixir for Fireball, and you don't have P.E.K.K.A in your cycle. So that was a very, very good cycling decision from Jax there. He's cycling his P.E.K.K.A in the back, probably just understanding that, you know, they've got more damage in that lane. If this guy wants to get any real amount of damage, then he was going to have to hog ride to the opposite lane, but that just gives him dual lane pressure, which is why he didn't play his Electro Wizard, because now you get this going on. Without the aid of that Electro Wizard. Now that Musketeer... Oh, I lied. She isn't dead. Or I was going to lie. I didn't lie yet. Really good decision right here, again, from Jax to simply wait on the pressure. You do not need to overcommit in a lot of these kinds of situations, and that's how P.E.K.K.A players often lose, is just by getting impatient in the matchup. You really have to know when you can set up your dual lane aggression, and he's doing a great job of that. Just understanding both his and his opponent's cycles. If you've listened in on the stream before, you've probably heard him say, okay, well, he just played these cards in that order, which means this is his current hand. He's really good at figuring that out quickly if you just give him half a moment to do so. I wonder if we're going to see him ever play the arrows in this matchup. I'd be kind of curious. Looks like he's just going to play the one... I mean, he kind of has to play the one crown game, but just go for an actually, like, a deceptively non-committal poison right there. Because now he just needs poison arrows one time in order to take that out. He might minions here just to speed up the process. Okay. I guess he's just confident. Yeah, I mean, I guess we got 15 seconds left, so he's probably more cognizant to the clock than I was, as I'm in the middle of commentating the match. Because he's not going to get that much damage that quickly, though he can get it relatively fast. You just get E-Wiz down here, even with the aid of the Fireball. It's just not coming down on time. So yeah, really, really solid play. That one... So the misplay on the Musketeer and then identifying his cycle to be advantageous was honestly gigantic for that overall matchup. Jax played that one very, very well, and then this is the one we haven't watched yet. So let's see what this one was. I saw some kind of a Mega Knight deck with Magic Archer in it. Okay, just Magic Archer. Okay. This actually looks like a pretty fun deck to play. I'm looking to start playing Mega Knight soon myself, just in classic challenges and the like, so that looks pretty fun. He's probably going to start Bandit in the back once he waits a little bit to see if his opponent's going to make the first play. That's generally what you're just going to do there. He might poison this. He might wait and see. Yeah, poison. Poison makes sense because you don't really see Magic Archer graveyard decks or other decks that like are going to super require you to hold your poison. I mean, obviously you've got like Fireball bait matchups and stuff like that, but when you're not running Fireball, I'd personally prefer just to kill it. Standard miner placement because it's super safe. So just play the Dark Prince on a tile that catches it, and you're sitting pretty. Barbarian Barrel was pretty well played there. That's how the Dark Prince interaction should always go. Ooh. I wanted to see him play the arrows on that. Actually, I don't know if they kill it now. If they kill the wall breakers. What? Oh my goodness. Arrows almost get 4 extra worth of value. This is actually kind of nuts. I really, really like what this card's looking like in the deck right now. This is actually just like a gigantic buff. Very, very good miner play and excellent, excellent reaction from Jax. To just know that his opponent was going to want to play, just knowing his opponent was going to want to play the miner to make sure that his bandit got a connection, so just playing a defensive battle ram. If you've tuned into the stream before, Jax has said both times that we've played, that I've done ladder sessions with him, defensive battle ram is freaking amazing. You can use it as a lightning rod. You can use it. Is he just gonna eat that damage? It's kind of surprising. I wonder what informed that decision. I'm actually gonna have to ask him about that at some point. Maybe I can get him to respond, like in the YouTube comments or something. If he does, I'm pretty sure I can pin that. I know nothing about YouTube stuff for the most part, though. Okay. That was a really unfortunately played Electro Dragon from his opponent. Now he's just got so much dual lane. You only need that 4 elixir for dual lane to really get going, and now like Jax just has such a big advantage. He's still got the E-Wiz sub-targeting on top of the tower. He's got both lanes down to less than half HP. He's got more than 3 elixir advantage. This game's honestly just won. Jax played that phenomenally. So I'm going to play his Dark Prince off to the side so that you can't really get Magic Archer chip against him. That's just pretty standard fare at that point. Probably going to go for a defensive battle ram here also. Yeah, that kind of looked like it was going to be his only viable play. I still want to see him try to play. Okay, so it looks like arrows do... I don't think it looked like the arrows were going to kill those wall breakers, but it looked like it was close. I'll actually run the numbers real quick, just so that we can have a definitive answer. He's probably just going to set up dual lane here instead of... Okay, that works too. Actually makes quite a lot of sense because this is going to go a long ways towards fixing his cycle also. Just eat a little bit of minor damage, it looks like. Ooh, those getting a connection is actually huge. So he's probably going to set up dual lane now, right? Because he's got that targeting, so it's enough pressure. Probably only going to commit that 4 elixir again. And then... That was extremely close, but the Barbarian got off the swing early. Yeah, I think that one P.E.K.K.A, just because the Magic Archer ended up being a little bit aggressive despite the elixir advantage, just the amount that the amount of pressure that the Magic Archer was able to add behind the Mega Knight, and the fact that it keeps him from going ahead and playing his minions all that safely kind of made the play a little bit on the sus side. This is my mini, by the way, so don't worry about the levels at all. Kind of made the play a little bit on the sus side, but ultimately, clearly it worked out. It worked out just fine. Where the heck are wall breakers on this list? Sorry. Okay, so wall breakers. Next page. Ah, here's the one. Tournament standard, they have 275 HP. Versus arrows at tournament standard. 275. Okay, so arrows will end up killing the wall breakers now, which is actually really big because you can spend +1 elixir on a spell and have a guaranteed kill. So that's a gigantic indirect nerf to the wall breakers. So yeah, really, really great games from Jax overall. I'm very excited to see what he does in 2 weeks for our next session, and I think that's going to be it for this YouTube video. I guess it's just P.E.K.K.A off call. Take care, everybody.